Live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and now Kick. Welcome to the Hawaii Fishing Gear Show, High Fish Gear. We're highfishgear.com. We're a tackle shop here in Neville Beach. And if you guys got questions about fishing, I want you to drop them in the comments right now while we're live. If you're watching later in the day, please drop your questions in the comments. We'll do our best to respond to every comment as we go along. Mahalo guys for watching. Mahalo for liking the videos. In case you don't know, when you like the video, it tells the platform that we're on that you like what you're watching, and hopefully it'll show it to some more people and we'll get some great questions. While I'm waiting for you guys to ask questions, let me tell you about some products on highfishgear.com. Actually, a product. This is Island Flies. Island Flies has made a special edition, a limited edition. It's kind of an Owama fly. He only made, I think, 20 of them that he dropped off. This is a big profile fly. Big profile, locally tied Owama fly with a big old red eye and a big size papio hook. The best part of this fly, I would say, other than a very nicely designed fly, even with a little black dot, kind of to mimic that Owama. You can see it right there on YouTube. $14.99. You can't go wrong with that. You cannot go wrong. Bigger profile. If you got the big bubble, you want a little bit bigger action, I encourage you to go check them out. The way to find it on our website, it's not under new products. You got to find the Island Flies page and click on it on our website. Just search for Island Flies with a Z, F-L-Y-Z, and look for the, it's called Dakine. Dakine. It's basically Dakine. You know what I'm talking about? All right, let's check out the questions. I got some people watching over there on YouTube and Facebook. Drop your questions in the comments right now while we're live. And let's scroll through Instagram. I saw some questions that already came through. All right. Let's see. Sup, Kayana? All right. First time fisher here. I say thanks for setting me up with my first whipping pole. I just caught one 3-pound papio, stoked 8. If you guys are out there catching fish with something you just got at our shop, big mahalo for #1 for the business. And also, hey, I'm happy that you guys are out there fishing, and hopefully you guys are learning a little bit something from these videos, and also that you're learning to kind of be responsible fishermen and a great member of our fishing community here in Hawaii. All right, what's up, Jordan? Where to BK? All right, Jordan is asking on YouTube where to BKN 12s. Hopefully you already got notifications signed up, Jordan. I know you already. You get notifications. You're always coming in going, I should have just bought it online. BKN 12s, Maruto. I don't know if it was a tariff thing or whatever's going on. Our distributor's been out for a little while. I highly recommend signing up for notifications on our website. The moment that they are restocked, my distributor usually gives me a call and says, hey, we just got a Maruto. I said, give me everything. All right. Let's see. You guys going to restock the quick release sand spike? I bought one in a store and tried to send it. Jansen, if you are on Oahu, send me an email, sales@highfishgear. We had one on display, not on display, but we had one that we used for photographs. So we still have one in the store. I'll do my best to try to hook you up on it, okay? What's the process of items being auctioned by you guys? Okay, in case you guys didn't know, I made a video on Instagram this week. We do auctions on our YouTube and Facebook channels. On YouTube, you have to be subscribed to be not subscribed, just subscribe on YouTube. But what you got to do is you got to sign up for the $1 a month membership. The way to get the process for having items on our auction, every Saturday we do a Consignment Saturday auctions. If you have items that you just have sitting around, you haven't used them for a while, they do have some value and stuff like that, the first step is to send me an email or a DM. I see that you're on Instagram. If you want to send me a DM with some photographs or a nice little list of the items that you are willing to put up for auction, I will let you know if it's something that we're interested in. There is limited space available. I think this Saturday is already booked, so we're already taking items for the following week, and you got to try to get your items in quickly. So send me a DM. I'll let you know if it's something that we want to auction, and then if it is, you got to bring it down to the shop, or if you're in the mainland or if you're in on a neighbor island, you can mail it to us. You have to cover the shipping for that. We put it up for auction. Now, when I say put it up for auction, it's a no reserve auction. If you say, bro, I got to get at least $400 for this, this is not the place for that. It's got to be stuff that you are just like, you know what? I don't care what I get for it. That's usually when you're happy, all right? Not saying that everything kind of goes bad, but I'm saying that it has the potential of not performing well, but everything will sell. You might have a bad item and a really, really good item that kind of evens it out. But if you got items that you're very hung up on the price, my suggestion for you is to go ahead and post it up on Facebook Marketplace, post it up on Craigslist. But if you don't want to deal with all that rubbish of dealing with, oh, you're going to take $20 for that $500 item, the good stuff goes pretty well on our auctions. We got some great buyers there. If you need if you need more information, if I did not explain enough for that, send me a DM on Instagram. We take 15% of the final sale price. We pay you out via Venmo, PayPal, or a check. We don't pay cash because you count as an expense, so we have to cover our bases on that. So your payment is via check, Venmo, or PayPal. All right. Let's see what other questions we got over there. Lead and hooks. Jansen says shoots. What's up, Jess, on YouTube? Let's see what other questions we got. You guys have the Obake tournament applications available? Yes, we do. We do have the Obake tournament applications here at the shop. Brandon just dropped them off this week. What's up, Brandon? We do have them available, and we also have permission to print more if we run out. So you come down to the shop, Garen's Ball Bearing's going to have them. All right. How are Abu Garcia's conventional reels? I have one, but not sure if I should use it. Bullet? If that's what you got, I say run them. Abu Garcia conventional reels, not the most popular in the state of Hawaii. We're Penn, Daiwa, Shimano, Newell. That's kind of what we're all about here. But the Abu Garcia is not saying they're bad reels. It's just not very popular here in Hawaii. I'm saying if that's what you have, run it. Do a little bit of research on the reel. Find out what the gear ratio is. If the gear ratio is 2 to 1, you might not want to run that reel because you're going to be hanging lead quite a bit. But yeah, if that's what you got, I always say run it. Run it until you need to upgrade it. And when you time to upgrade it, remember who told you to hold on to it. Come check out our shop. We got good stuff here. All right, let's see what other questions we got on Instagram. Getting down towards the bottom. What's up, Smoke the Pain? All right. Do glow grubs work as good as glow flies for Menpachis? They work just as good as, better in some cases. It all depends on where you're at and how the fish are behaving. Their behavior may change from day to day. Their behavior may change to moon phase, tides, water temperatures. A lot of different things that can change. Whenever you're out fishing for Menpachis, if grubs were working last time, start off with grubs. If flies were working last time, start off with flies. But if nothing's working, try different glow colors. Try non-glow stuff. Try glow flies. Try everything. But you should have a little bit of something in your arsenal, so you're not just stuck with one item when you go out. But yeah, it does. They do work just as well as soft baits. Sometimes they work better. Okay. All right. Here's some more questions. Let's see. What was the question over there? 90 to 150 gram Alua popper recommendations. Jordan actually has some suggestions. We don't have too many 90 to 150 gram lures on our website. They don't usually sell very well, but we are planning on getting him some of the Kaku ones back in soon. Let's see. And then Jordan makes a suggestion. He says, look into the GTFC. That's GT Fight Club. The skipjack and the tuna poppers. Those are pretty popular amongst guys that I know are serious into plugging. They're not cheap, but they're solid. Okay? All right. There's a good question. Thank you very much, Taco, for that question over here. What is the best size bubble for a heavy 9-foot pole? Heavy 9-foot pole, if you're talking about, you got to look at what the lure rating is. I'll tell you right now, the big bubble, when you fill it all the way up with water, is 1.9 ounces. Okay, now you can decrease the amount of water to match the lure rating on your rod. If that 9-foot heavy rod that you're talking about is the 9-foot Okuma SST rod. That has a lure rating up to 2 ounces. So that way you can use the full bubble, the bubble full of water. But if the rod is only rated up to 1.5 ounces, or the rod is rated up to 3 ounces or something like that, you got to kind of play with your lure rating. If the rod's only rated up to 1 ounce, you're probably going to have to drop it down to the medium-sized bubble. But I would say, Taco, if that 9-foot heavy is rated up to 2 ounces, the big bubble's where it's at. Okay? Let's see what other questions we got. Cheap for Ulua poppers too. Okay. 90, I don't think 90 to 150 grams, that's pretty big and pretty heavy. You're looking at like $40 to $50 minimum for lures like that. All right. Okay. Bullet is asking another question. Thanks for all the good questions, Bullet. Guys, don't hesitate to ask multiple questions, all right? Just go ahead and ask them. Like I said, I'll do my best to try to answer everything. How do you know where to throw your pole when you bait cast? Is there any videos of how to read the ocean water that help you? You know what? I'll just kind of give you a little bit of a story. There was a spot that I used to fish quite a bit because I lived close to it. I had some success there fishing, but it was like, I'd go fishing like 5 times and maybe I'd catch 2 out of the 5 times. And I'd be fishing for hours and I'd only catch maybe like 1 or 2 fish. I was very familiar with the reef because I would go out and I would dive for lead. And of course I would swim in the area because it was close to where I live. One day I invited a very experienced angler, Jeff M, for you old time guys, you probably know him. I invited him to come down and check out the area because he was going to scope it for a fence line tournament that was coming up. And he came down for 45 minutes. 45 minutes is what he fished. Jeff is a very good caster. His cast is very controlled. I gave him the layout. I told him where sand channels were. I told him what was in front of the sand channel and beyond the sand channel from my own personal experience of fishing. And I told him my estimate of how far it was. When the waves were coming in, I would tell him the reef is right there. So it was basically a reef, a sand channel, and then more reef. What he did was he cast just beyond the sand channel because he could, and he hit it right where it was supposed to be. And in 45 minutes, he caught 3 fish. That's an ability to really pinpoint and target where your stuff is. Now, every spot's going to be a little bit different to where the fish are biting, but a lot of times the fish don't tend to swim right over the reef. They tend to kind of go the easiest route, and a sand channel in between 2 reef heads is usually where the fish is going to go. So I would try to target the sand channels. I would also try targeting, avoiding places where your lead's going to get hung up. But there's not really a good way to read it other than just to go experience it, fish it, learn a little bit more about it. And if you have the time and the energy, get in the water and check it out. Check it out. Go for a little dive. Kind of scope your grounds if you get a chance, especially during the summer months when the water's a little bit warmer. Definitely hop in and check it out. All right. Hopefully that answers your question. I hope I didn't go all over the place with it, but targeting and laying your lead and your bait in the right place does influence how quickly you catch. All right. Chaz asks on YouTube, is a 12-foot heavy battalion okay for an 8K battle, or just stick to the medium heavy 11-foot? I think that a 12-foot heavy battalion paired up with an 8K battle is a freaking awesome combo. I'd say one of the best combos that you can put together. That heavy battalion and an 8K battle. That reel is rated up to, the rod is rated up to 40-pound test. You can spool that reel with 30-pound test monofilament, straight 30. You're going to have over 200 yards, and the rod is going to have no problems whatsoever handling that line. I think that the 12K heavy is a great combo for that reel. Let's check and see what other questions we got. Scrolling down on Instagram. If you don't have a gaff, is there a method to land them even if no get gaff? Okay, if you're on the rocks and you've got to bring a fish up, 3 feet, 2 feet or higher, and you don't have a gaff, the advice is to climb down the rocks, try to get your hands on the fish. If you're on the sand, you don't necessarily need a gaff all the time, but you do have to kind of time it with the waves and try to bring the fish up. The last thing you want to do is to yank a fish like a little too hard. I'm trying to say, don't let the fish's weight, the full weight of the fish. Say, for instance, the fish is on the sand. You don't want to pull the fish by the hook if all of its weight is on the ground, because now it's no longer in the water and kind of neutral buoyant. Now you have the full weight of the fish pulling on that hook. You got to be careful and kind of time your pulling. Bring it in with the wave when it still has kind of a neutral buoyancy. This way you can get it up out of the water, and when the wave recedes, now you can bring your fish up. But if you're on the rocks and you don't have a gaff, right, you got to ama crab it, climb down, and try to get your hands on that fish, because if you try to yank that fish out of the water, carry the full weight of the fish with your pole, you're either going to damage your pole or you're going to lose the fish, or both. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, man. But always, if you're going to be fishing someplace where you think you need a gaff, you should probably have a gaff on you. All right. Okay. 2-pound taco, trying to go big or go home. All right. If you're sliding a 2-pound taco and you want to go big and go home, you better go home and get your gaff. All right. Okay. I was thinking of rocking the Abu Garcia with my Shimano Talus. What would you recommend for a setup if I was thinking about using 50-pound mono and 36-pound squid? So 50-pound mono, you got a lot of different options if you want to stick with 50-pound tests. Budget friendly, Jigmaster, of course. Probably not the best idea of Jigmaster on a Talus, but I tell you what, for under $100, that reel is pretty solid. I would probably go with the Pen 4.0. The Pen 4.0 wide with the 113H2LW. That reel right there, 50-pound test, you're going to get a lot of line on it, and it'll match up really nicely with the Shimano Talus. All right. Let's see, any other questions on YouTube? Nope. All right, I think we're all caught up. I gave you guys 17 minutes and 46 seconds. I was only planning for about 20 seconds. I guess I'll give you guys while I wait for a couple more questions. We are doing another swap meet. It's going to be the first Saturday of next month. I think it's the 4th. Let me check my calendar. First Saturday of the month, we do a swap meet outside the shop. I really liked this past weekend, this Saturday. The swap meet was really great. We had a great turnout. A lot of people came through. It's the 4th of October. Next month, the 4th of October is the first Saturday. I think based on what we've been viewing, I think the max is probably going to be about 6 to 7 tables. Pretty much all the guys that come out for the swap meet this past one, they all said they want to go next month. So I've already got 4 tables already booked. And if you guys want to get a table at the swap meet, please reach out to me ASAP. It's only $20 to get a table. That's just $20 to make you commit to it and make sure you show up so we don't wind up having less people than we expect. But I tell you, man, everybody who showed up got some kind of deal. Everybody who brought stuff wound up making way more than enough money to cover the $20 and make themselves pretty happy, enough to where they wanted to go next month again. So High Fish Gear, first Saturday fishing gear swap meet outside of our shop. If you guys want to grab a table, make sure you do it quickly. All right. And then here's one. Hey, Reef Candy is going to be there. That's 5. 2 more tables left. All right. And we'll answer. Bullet, thank you again for all the questions, man. They're all pretty good. Some of the questions you might feel like might be a little monotonous, a little bit too repetitive or whatever. Ask them, because there's probably about 10, 15 people that are watching live right now, between the 10 people that are watching on Instagram and 50 people watching on Facebook and YouTube, that probably have the same questions. Okay, here we go. How would you know what to pack on a holo holo? I always wanted to pack my 3 poles and 1 whipping, but I'm so tired of just me being with the only person to carry my wagon. You know, how much to bring is always kind of one of those rough questions you got to answer yourself. I recently went on an expedition. I'll call it expedition because it was a hike-in, and we brought a lot of gear. It was too much gear. It was way too much gear. And from this point on, I'm going to try to do light packing. If it's not a place where you can just roll up your truck and fish right there next to your truck and you got to hike in, the less amount of stuff is the better. It really is. Just make sure that you bring in all the essentials. You know, if you're going to be bait casting or lure fishing, make sure you bring your bell, your tie down, all the lead you're going to need, your bait, some snacks, some water and stuff like that. Make sure you minimize what you bring in, especially if you got to hike in. But if it's someplace where you can just roll up with your truck, bring whatever you need. You know, go Hollywood style right there. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, thanks for the scoop and your expertise watching from the Big Island. Right on. Thank you, Vincent. Okay, do you know when the Okuma Minpachi rods? We don't know, brother. We don't know when they're going to be coming back in. We got pretty much a lot of them. We cleared out not just one distributor, but 2 different distributors. They're very popular rods. My suggestion is sign up for notifications. Usually when they come back in, we get them the same time or before most of the other stores. So if you sign up for notifications, even if you're not able to buy it from us, it'll tell you that they're back on island, and maybe some other stores might have them, okay? One last question, I'm gonna say aloha. Would a 5K Stratic pair well with a 10'7" Minpachi rod? Chazzy, Unks, that is the best combo for that rod. A 5K Stratic with a 10'7" Minpachi, perfection. It is a great combination. Probably put at least minimum 20-pound test on that. You can probably bump it up to like a 30-pound test premium braid. This way you get over 250 yards on it. Okay, that's it. I hope you guys leave a like on the video. Brother Lance, Bill, you got Obake forms? Yes, we do, Lance. Come grab them, all right? We do have the Obake forms at the shop. Obake fishing tournament, the dates, maybe I'll post them a little bit later, but we do have forms at the shop. Okay, and then Bullet, send me a DM if you really want me to answer the question. I gotta say aloha, 22 minutes. Leave a like on the video, it helps us reach more people. Instagram, I think we only need like 14 more followers for 29,000. If you guys are watching and you don't necessarily follow us, could you please follow us on Instagram? Because we only need like a handful of followers to hit 29,000. Also YouTube, very close to 8K. I keep track of these things. All right, you guys have a good one. Aloha.